When you think of the character Ralph Wiggum, you're thinking of the Simpsons cartoon character, and quite rightly so. But now he's also made an appearance in AI-assisted software development. Well, what's that all about? Well, if you want to find out more, please, let me explain. Okay, so here we are. I'm a software engineer, trust me. So where's all this come from? Well, we can see here there was a blog post written by Jeffrey Huntley way back in July of 2025, Ralph Wiggum as a software engineer, how Ralph Wiggum went from the Simpsons to the biggest name in AI right now, and that's an article by VentureBeat. So what's it all about? Well, basically, Ralph is a technique. In its purest form, Ralph is a loop, and of course the idea here is that Ralph Wiggum, the character in the cartoon, is at best, let's say, naive but good-natured, and so he does things that he doesn't maybe really know what he's doing. And that's the idea here, that you can run basically a loop while do what you're gonna do, this prompt, and then pipe it into Claude Code or Codex from OpenAI, and just keep going round and round. And that's the beauty of Ralph. The technique is deterministically bad, like the character, in the sense he wasn't bad as in evil, but he didn't always do the right thing in an indeterministic world. So the idea is if you keep going round and round and round, even if it makes mistakes, in the end it will get it right, and it will give you the right answer. Building software with Ralph requires a great deal of faith and belief in eventual, that's the idea here, eventual consistency. That if you keep sending it round saying this is the job you've got to do, keep trying, in the end it will come up with the right answer. Which means, well, from Ryan Carson's implementation of Ralph, which is what I'm basing my stuff on today. Of course, all the links for this stuff will be in the description. Ralph is an autonomous AI agent loop that runs AI coding tools like Codex or Claude Code repeatedly until all the requirements are met. Each iteration is a fresh instance with clean context. So remember, of course, we're calling a tool, and then the tool exits. So we're calling Codex, the tool exits, and then we call it again in a new iteration from the start, but you've got some kind of memory because you've got the current set of the source code, you've got a git history, you've got these files called progress.txt and prd.json, which we'll talk about in a minute, and that kind of gives it the context of when it starts a new loop again. In that sense, the Ralph technique is actually a type of agent orchestration. That means that you have multiple autonomous agents that are doing things for you, and you want to work out how you're going to coordinate them all, bring them up, get them to do their thing, check their results, and so on. Now, of course, in this case, you just got one agent and it runs in a loop. So the problem with LLMs is they don't learn and they don't remember. Unlike us, we kind of learn and remember. LLMs are trained. Okay, the model is trained by OpenAI, Google, whoever, and that's it. It's static. It doesn't learn new things. So every time you use an LLM to the model, it's like the first time you're talking to it. Now, the way we get around this, you can provide it some context. In the simplest form, this would be the previous chat that you have in your history, so that when you say something that hasn't got all the details, actually it knows what you're talking about because it's got that context of your previous chat history. And that's why high-end LLMs have big context windows, 1 million tokens or whatever. So each iteration is a fresh instance, as I've just said. Now, prd.json is a set of product requirements, but in JSON format, so what it needs to achieve. And progress.txt is a set of notes written by the AI to remember what it's done so far. So this combination of the progress file and the PRD, it kind of knows, oh, okay, I've got the source code, this is what I'm doing, this is how far I've got, right, let's carry on with the next thing that I need to do. So key points in the prompt that are sent into the agent, as we saw, it pipes it in, okay, is you are an autonomous coding agent working on a software project, so that tells you what it is. Read that JSON file, read the progress file, pick the next highest priority user story where passes is fail, and that's part of the user story is part of that JSON format. We'll show you that in a minute. Okay, implement that user story, that task basically. Update the PRD to set it pass for a complete story. So update the PRD and update your progress, and then it exits. And the next time it comes in this loop, in this Ralph loop, it will read it again, it will read it again, it will pick the next item to do, it will implement it, and it just keeps on going round and round in a loop. Now you're going to need a couple of skills for this. So there's one skill which is how to produce the product requirements. So generate a product requirement document, PRD, for a new feature, used when planning a feature, starting a new project or whatever. And it tells you create a detailed product requirements that are clear, actionable and suitable for implementation. Further down, because it's quite a long skill, it says things like ask questions if you're unsure, try to clarify what the user wants, and so on. And there's another skill that to convert that text-based PRD into JSON format, tells it to do it. And here is an example. And as you can see, it says user stories, okay, and then it gives each one an item, tells you what it's got to do, okay, and that's it. Basically converts that text file into a JSON using this format. So two skills that come with this that kind of get the ball rolling, because without the PRD and without the kind of the start, it won't know what it's got to do. So this is how you boot it up. This is how you get it going. So the steps are basically this: use the PRD skill to generate a detailed requirements document, boot it up, use the Ralph skill, that was the name of that second skill, to convert it to the JSON format. Then you run Ralph once to make sure that it's running correctly, that it's doing the right thing. Okay, and then you run Ralph in a loop until it's all satisfied. So you can go away, fire it up and just say go and work on that. Okay, so what I'm going to show you, I'm going to do a demo now and I'm going to show you those 4 steps. Just before I show you the demo, I want to note that I am using Codex from OpenAI to do the Ralph loop. And actually a lot of the things I show you can be done directly in Codex without actually using a Ralph loop. But I really want to just show you the idea of the Ralph technique. Okay, so here I am on Linux. In fact, this is WSL, and I've got a directory here where I want to do my code development. And if we do a quick look inside, we can see there are 2 things. One is I've created a GitHub repository in here with GitHub in it. And secondly, I've got a scripts directory, which is where Ralph lives. And if you have a look inside here, you can see I've got the prompts for Claude, for OpenAI and so on. And I've also got the Ralph script itself. Also, you can see that I have copied in the skills. So for example, if I look under Codex skills PRD, then I've got the skill file in there and we can look at that. Okay, and there's all that stuff with all the skills that it needs. Okay, so we've got a blank project, but everything's set up to use the Ralph technique. So the first thing we should do is go into Codex. You could use Claude Code. Yes, you're allowed to work with this folder. Here I am inside of Codex. So what do I want to do? I want to say to it the following: load the PRD skill, which we've talked about, and create a product requirement document for, and what we're going to do today, we're going to try and create a minimalistic MQTT broker. I've got several videos about MQTT here on this channel in C that supports a publisher and 0 or more subscribers. And then because I want it really simple, no authentication, no advanced features, no quality of service, which is a part of MQTT, no persistent sessions, no retained messages, just the most simplest type of MQTT broker. And so this first step is to get Codex, not Ralph, just Codex itself, to create the PRD, the requirement documents for that. Now, part of that is it will ask me some questions. That's part of that prompt, part of that skill rather, is to say ask questions. So I'm sure we're going to get some questions coming out. Here they are. So what we're going to say here, so we've got 5 questions. First one, what is a primary deal of this? Well, we're going to say that 1A, it's just a reference device. We'll support the lowest version of it, so we go with 2A. What type of network protocol? Only TCP. We're going for the simplest thing here. We don't want anything complicated. What topic semantics should it support? Exact topic matches only. Don't want any wild carding or anything like that. And finally, any performance, single publisher and a few dozen subscribers is absolutely fine. So this is because this is what I'm testing out the Ralph idea. You might have different ideas. You might respond to those differently. Depends on what you want to do, but this is the idea. So hopefully now this will go ahead and create a minimalistic MQTT broker product requirement document. Okay, and it's told me that it's created that in tasks PRD minimalistic MQTT broker.md markdown file. Okay, so we could go and have a look at that. Let's go and have a look at that just to see what it says. So it's in more task, which has now created that directory, obviously. Okay, so here it is, create a minimal, it's 21%, so it's quite a number of pages. It actually describes everything you need to do, and it describes this thing called user stories, which is basically the tasks that need to be done. And look, here they all are, there with the square brackets, all the different things that need to be done to get this to work, plus kind of talking about design considerations and so on. So now we have a document in English, really. Now the next step is to convert that into that JSON format. Now what you do is tell Codex load the Ralph skill, that's the name of the other skill that converts it to JSON, and convert tasks prd minimalistic MQTT broker.md, that file we just looked at, to prd.json. That's the file, converting that into a JSON format. So you can go ahead, use that skill, which is basically just a prompt which tells it how to do it. We saw it gives it the output and it kind of works it out. So it's going to go ahead and create that prd.json file. Okay, so that's gone ahead and created that file. So now we quit out of here because we're not going to use Codex directly. We're going to let Ralph call Codex. So if we now look in our scripts directory, we'll see there is that JSON file. And we can have a look at that, and we can see it's all those same things that we were seeing in the text-based version, but it's now inside of a JSON format file. Okay, great. So now the next thing to do is actually just to call Ralph. So we're going to call it once to start with. Okay, so we can make sure that it's working okay, and this will call Codex. Now this script also supports calling of Claude code, for example. Okay, so it's going ahead and it's doing what it's been told in the prompt, and it's going to update its progress. It's going to, you know, mark things in that JSON file as completed when they've been completed. So we'll just let it run and see what comes out of this first iteration. Okay, so it has finished. So let's have a look to see what we've got here. Well, we've got a binary here, LMQTT. We've got a source file directory, okay, which has got a main file in it. We've got a make file. Let's just try make clean make. Okay, great. Now this first version probably won't do very much. So if we look now at the PRD file, we can see that here it's put task number 1, which was accept TCP collections, is now pass. If we go down a little bit, the next one is false because it hasn't done that yet. Handle MQT connect packets. All it's doing basically is just listening on port 1883. So let's just run it. Okay, and it goes, I'm listening on port 1833. So there's not much more we can do for it at that point because it doesn't do anything else. But now, of course, the point is you want to run this and just let it keep running. So that's what we can do. We'll run Ralph again. Let's tell it can run for 50 iterations. And let's see what happens once it finishes all those iterations. So it's going to take a little while, maybe even a couple of hours, but we'll see what happens. Okay, so there you go. It's finished. It's implemented everything it needed to do. So let's go and see what we've got here. Okay, so we've got the LMQTT file which runs as a server. Let's see whether it's got a help function. Oh, it does. All right, minus verbose. Well, let's do that so that it knows what it's doing. Okay, I'm listening on port 1833. Okay, now Mosquito is an MQTT server and they've got a client library, so they provide some test programs. I'm going to use that, a third-party test tool, to talk to the new server that we've just built. And so what we're going to do is we're going to say I want to subscribe to the topic Ralph. Again, if you don't know about MQTT, I've got several videos about that here on this channel. Let's see whether it can connect. I'm assuming it's connected because it's just sitting there waiting. Okay, now in a different window, I'm going to use the publish. I'm going to publish to the topic Ralph, and the message is hello. Let's see if this can connect and publish. Didn't come back with an error, so I'm assuming it did. Let's go over to the other window. Okay, here I am on my subscriber. Yes, it's come up with hello, so that seems to have worked. Brilliant. And here on the actual server itself, it's come out and it said someone subscribing to the topic Ralph. Someone here is publishing to the topic Ralph. So it's giving us here some verbose information about what's going on. So there we go. It built our lightweight MQTT server according to the product requirements, and Ralph went away in a loop until all those requirements were met. Okay, so there you have it, the Ralph method for using an AI model for coding. Love to hear your thoughts on the Ralph method and also on your thoughts on Codex, on Claude Code and so on. Do tell me know what you think of those in the comments below. My name's Gary Sims. This is Gary Explains. I really hope, I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please do give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already done so, then please subscribe to the channel. And if you want to support the channel, please do consider becoming a member. Okay, that's it. I'll see you in the next one.